Now, the past few months have seen what authorities are calling a crackdown on corruption in Kenya. Today, a trial of the country's Deputy Chief Justice, who is the second highest judge, has been suspended amid a barrage of legal petitions. Kenya's chief prosecutor has recently brought criminal charges against several high-ranking officials, including civil servants and business people. But is the government really serious about fighting graft? It's a question President Uhuru Kenyatta had to tackle on the BBC's Hard Talk program.
As a government, as an individual, I am committed to this fight. As you've seen over the last few months, as we've gotten these new re-strengthened, regenerated agencies working, cases are now being finalized a lot faster, being presented before court. And we are looking forward now to our courts to do their part, to ensure that people in Kenya and across the world realize that the age of impunity is over, to ensure that we are able to achieve our big four
How
agenda.
soon do you think you can meet your objectives in tackling corruption?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, and if you've been following media reports alone, the number of cases that are now before the courts of law in Kenya are very many. Many of them people who nobody ever expected would ever appear before a court of law. So what we are now looking forward to
no high-profile convictions, though. No high-profile convictions.
Now, that's what I'm saying. What Kenyans are now looking forward to is our courts of law will also now do their part and expeditiously process those cases, right, and convict in the shortest time possible.
So we're going to hear about big fish.
Culprits.
We're going to hear about big fish.
You've already heard about them being presented before courts of law.
We're talking about millions and millions of dollars, for example, from women's charities, from the National Youth Service, which is a government agency that's dedicated to trying to tackle youth employment. And you've got one particular recent scandal, which is over toxic sugar that's been imported into Kenya. And it's alleged that MPs have been taking bribes to stop a report in Parliament which aimed to stop the importation of toxic sugar. And one MP has said that this is Godfrey Osotsi says the institution of Parliament that is supposed to protect the public has turned against them. This is the kind of thing that's going on.
And this is what we're saying. We are going to tackle, and we have begun tackling, regardless of who you are, and as I said,
so even MPs who might be taking bribes?
Even if you're my own family member, Zainab, I have said and I've made it very clear that agencies are free. And you have seen already a number, even of members of parliament, who have been arrested by the EACC, which is our Anti-Corruption Commission, on charges that they, have abused their office, or they've taken advantage of their office for personal gain.
All right,
and this is happening. These are things that are happening as we speak, Zainab.
All right, you've said even members of your own family.
Absolutely.
I have to put it to you that in 2011, Mr. President, Forbes magazine said that the Kenyatta family are worth about $500 million and own a lot of land. And we know that figures, for example, tell us that 8,500 people of Kenya's 49 million citizens own 2/3 of the country's wealth. And your family is part of that 8,500. How does that sit with your fight against corruption?
As I have always stated, what we own, what we have, is open to the public. As a public servant, I am supposed to make my wealth known, and we declare every year. And I have always said, if there is an instance where somebody can say that what we have done or obtained has not been legitimate, say so. We are ready to face any court. Furthermore, I've gone a stage further and said that going forward, we are in the process now of putting in place measures where every public servant's assets must be declared publicly, so that people can question and ask what is legitimate and what's legitimate. And if you can't explain yourself, including myself, then I have a case to answer.
And you can see President Kenyatta's full interview on Hard Talk with Zainab Badawi here on BBC World News today at 19:30 GMT. Let's take a quick look now at other stories making the headlines across Africa. Ugandan opposition politician Kesiano Wadri has finally been sworn in as MP. He won a by-election earlier this month, but in the run-up to the vote, he and others were arrested over allegations that they stoned President Yoweri Museveni's car during campaigning. 5 Kenyan soldiers have been killed and 10 others injured in an explosion close to the Somali border. The Kenyan military said the troops died when their truck ran over an improvised explosive in Lamu County. Moroccan pop star Saad Lamjared has been charged with raping a woman after being arrested in southern France. He has now been released, but his case remains under investigation. Lamjared is now banned from traveling outside France as well as from approaching the alleged victim.